Dear friends, this is Srinivasan who is having more than 30 years experiences in the construction industries, trying to present a small presentation on introduction on tender process and documentations. What is meant by a tender? Tender is an offer which incorporates the sum of money, time and other conditions required to carry out the contract obligations in order to complete a project or a part of it consisting of a specified works. Meaning of tender. Stages of a project. Stage 1. Commencement and possibility, distinguishing ventures destination, set up a venture brief. Stage 2. Structure. Grow further task brief, create idea and schematic structure, undertake point by point structure and enumerating get ready cost plan and financial plan. Stage 3. Offering. Issue a delicate records, get ready and submit delicate, assessment of a delicate, grant tenders, plan contract. Stage 4. Development. Site ownership and activation, acquirement, establishment, development and do contract administrator. Stage 5. Handover and support. Embrace all testing, appointing and preparing, get CF, handover undertaking to the proprietor, do vital upkeep, defect amendment and so on. Tendering will be begin after the structure and project spending plan must be affirmed. The cycle that is utilized to acquire offers leading to an agreement between client and a contractor, client to a main contractor, consultant to a contractor. Purpose of tendering process. To choose a reasonable temporary worker at a time fitting to the circumstances of the venture. To acquire from the temporary worker, choose at the best possible time an adequate delegate or often whereupon an agreement can be. Difference between contract and a tender. A delegate officially implies a challenge to exchange under the particulars of an offer. An agreement is a term utilized for when the gatherings have agreed. Tendering process. Principal activities. Selection of the most preferable or appropriate contract procurement method. Development of a tender list. Preparation of a tender documentation. Invitation of a tender. Preparation and submission of tenders. Receipt and opening of tenders. Evaluation of tenders. Acceptance of tender, award of a contract. Selection of appropriate contract method. Traditional route, longer time, lead to a critical work scheduling. Less errors, more precise. Fast track contract procurement route. Shorter time, consequences may be lead to a critical error variation. Tenders can directly apply to the employer for a future works. Employer generates list based on previous dealings. The professional team generates their own list and recommend the employer. Preparation of tender documentation. The typical contents. Letter of invitation, checklist for submission of tender, articles of agreement, conditions of contract, form of tender, tender specifications, bill of quantities, tender drawings, sample copy of the acceptance, sample copy of a bank guarantee for a performance band, schedule of day work rates, sample copy bank guarantee for an advance payment. Tendering process. Stage 1 preparation, stage 2 approval to tender, stage 3 documentation, stage 4 invitation, stage 5 processing, stage 6 is awarding the contract. Preparation. completion of drawing, specifications, measurement, takeoff process, conditions of contract, parties involved, architects, engineers, QS, client, project manager, approval of tender, decision on type of tender to be used, selection of tenderer, open, selective, or negotiator, parties involved, client, consultant, and the project managers, shortlist the selected candidate, contractors, contract based on tenders and specifications, compliance of letter of invitation to the tenderers, articles of agreement, conditions of the contract, form of tender details, that is contractor registration, organization background, track record, past and present projects, letter of acceptance, bank and insurance guarantee forms, that is mean the performance bond, bank and insurance guarantees forms, advance payments, specifications, summary of a tender, schedule of rates, relevant drawings. Invitation. Based on the selection of tendering methods, open or a competitive, bid tender, produce a tender notice. Selective. Shortlisted contractors will be invited to tender if they wish. Negotiated. Only one contractor is approached, directly entry to the project. Tender notice or notice inviting tender. The tender notice is a brief description of the job being tendered, which is to be published in newspaper and on the internet. Format of tender notice. Name of the project, name and address of the company floating the tender, name of the work, materials of services, place of work and location, approximated estimated cost of work, earnest money, period of completion, date on which the tender document sale commences. Date on which the tender document sales commences. Date and time up to which the tender documents can be obtained. The cost of tender documents. The date and time up to which the tender is to be submitted and are to be opened. Specifications. Eligibility criteria. Processing. Receive tenders submitted by the contractor. Tender assessment and evaluation. Completed tenders are received. Arithmetical check. Reasonable tender sum. Reasonable completion time. Capabilities of tenderers under considerations. Tender recommendations / report tender board. Guidelines to the tender system. The capacity, past credential, and the financial status of the tenderer is thoroughly investigated before awarding the contract. These aspects should be commented in detail along with the tender documents. The rate should be quoted in the numbers and words without any corrections. To take advantage of any possible increase in statutory taxes and duties, the tax components such as excise duties, sales tax, works, contract tax should be clearly indicated. Tenderer should not quote money special condition as some of them may have the financial implication. This can be added to your quoted cost. Also, it creates confusion and creates room for manipulative forces. The rates quoted for individual items should be realistic and should not be abnormal and award of contract. Pre-award meeting with the contractors, validation of the lowest complying bid, validate lowest bid, pre-contract bid meeting with the contractor for contract signing, approval by the tender board. An acceptance of tender form is issued to the tenderer, signed by the authorized officer. Tender process for a tendering process. Stage 1, take a decision whether to procure the tender or not. Stage 2, determine the basis of tender. Stage 3, preparation of the cost estimate. Stage 4, commercial appreciation. Stage 5, conversion of estimation of tender. Stage 6, submission of the tender. Decision to tender. Receipt of tender documents, pre-tender data sheets. Decision to tender. Consider implications of bonds, warranties, parent company, guarantees, etc. Also. Determine basis of tender. Abstract material and subconstruction. Sent out inquiries. Consider construction method. Prepare method statement. Design temporary works. Consider alternative. Prepare outline program. Check major quantities. Identify restrictions. Visit site and compile the site report. Campaigning meeting. Designing areas responsibility. Preparation of the cost estimate. Calculate recurrent rates using operational, unit rates, analyze and check subcontractors quotation, price preliminaries general items in association with the number of the teams, prepare summary, commercial appreciation, tender committee meeting, review, method, programs, technical and commercial risk, cash flow and finance, use of own plant, competition, commercial opportunities, check prelims against historical cost data, conversion of tender estimate to tender bid, tender committee meeting, conclude the spread and add estimate, submission of tender, submit the format required by the tenderer, organize. Thank you for watching this presentation. Kindly subscribe and like and share, which will motivate me for a good presentations. In case of any queries, do not hesitate to write to me. The response shall be at the earliest. You can contact me at civilconclave.com or at my Telegram group, Ask Srini Telegram groups. The link is been provided below. This is the first part of the tender preparation document. Second part will be very soon. Thank you very much for watching this presentation. Kindly subscribe. Thank you.